Because a lot of people, well, we had one person saying in the chat, I don't think this affects the Suns. Well, here's how it could potentially affect the Suns, right? Because everyone else in the chat is like, I hope JJ is on the phone right now calling people up to add something into this roster. So Woj also followed up with a tweet saying, Utah still has coveted veteran trade assets, including Bojan Bogdanovic, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley Jr. They'll approach an OKC-esque haul of draft assets once they're done dealing. Jazz consider Markkanen, Sexton, and Abaji keepers for their rebuilding roster. So, should James Jones be on the phone right now?
Yes, give me any of those three. I'd take any of those three and throw in Vanderbilt as well if they're willing to part with him. I think, with the price being probably first rounders and expiring contracts, I am perfectly fine with James Jones picking up that phone, saying to Danny Ainge, you name the picks, we'll give you the expiring contracts. Let's make this better. I really am frustrated because I said something similar on Twitter, and people are like, well, you got to save all the assets in case somebody like KD is available. And I'm like, no, you got to make your team better and put yourself in a position to win this year. That's got to be first and foremost. You can't play a waiting game trying to see if some lottery ticket's going to cash in at some point. If you have the opportunity to go out there and get some of these guys from Utah and bolster your bench, fill those holes that caused you problems last year, you do it, and you do it as quick as you can.
Yeah, I think I see both sides to this perspective, because I understand not wanting to wait around for this perfect blockbuster game-changing trade to materialize. You can't approach it that way. But I've also kind of been on the fence of, it's not the end of the world if this team runs it back and maintains that flexibility should a Kevin Durant or a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander become available in a couple of months. But I do think some of these players that we're looking at with the Jazz, the two in particular that stand out to me, Jordan Clarkson and Jared Vanderbilt, those are guys you could trade for without sacrificing the flexibility that you'll have later on if one of those blockbuster trades becomes available. So if you can upgrade your bench and still maintain that option, should Kevin Durant or Shai or somebody else down the line, request a trade or become on the trade block, then you can swing that trade as well. So Jordan Clarkson, I've talked about this before. I have mixed feelings about him because he is a guy who can create his own shot. He's a scorer. We know what he does, and he does it well, but he's not a great three-point shooter, and the shot selection can be a little worrisome, and I would need to see him defend at a high level on this particular Suns team to warrant those minutes. That being said, you do need a campaign alternative if he turns back into a pumpkin, and I do love Jared Vanderbilt. Like, he is a very good defensive player, and he would help a lot with the Suns' rebounding issues, especially at that 4 spot, because no matter who you're starting, if it's Jay Crowder, if he's still on the roster, or Cam Johnson, you need rebounding at that 4 spot. It was one of their Achilles heels last year. I think Vanderbilt averaged like 9 rebounds a game last season for the Timberwolves. So he's on like a $4 million contract. He'd be a really great value pickup if they could find a way to swing it and satiate Danny Ainge's lust for draft picks.
Look, I feel like you can trade, and we'll talk about Jay Crowder in a second, but a guy like a Jay Crowder and a pick, and still keep your flexibility to go big game hunting as well. But I just feel it's short-sighted to think just hold on to everything, and if you get the opportunity to make yourself better, because there's whatever path to a superstar is going to be focused around a McHale or a DA and that area. And one pick I don't think is going to make the difference, nor is trading one of your expirings. So if the Jazz are looking to just add a pick for one of these guys, I think you have to consider it very seriously to try to make a move.